One of the new Nobel laureates says the U.S. economy is not working for most.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Amazon Business, focused on offering smart business buying solutions, leading time to focus on growth. More at AmazonBusiness.com. And by Odoo, designed to save time on business management with one simple user-friendly software. ODOO.com. Everything any business will ever need.
I'm David Brancaccio. First, striking workers at Boeing have voted to reject the company's latest contract offer. It had included a 35% pay increase, so the 6-week-old strike at Boeing's West Coast plants goes on, adding to many challenges for the company, including a $6 billion quarterly loss. Marketplace's Nova Safo is here with more.
Yeah, David, what may count as a sliver of good news for Boeing this morning is that its workers voted to reject the latest contract offer by a narrower margin than the last vote. 64% were against this time. Last time it was 94%, so they're getting closer. The latest offer was for a 35% increase in wages, very close to what workers have been demanding, but it's looking increasingly like Boeing will have to make a significant move toward the other major demand workers have been making, and that's the restoration of a traditional pension plan. So far, the company has not agreed to that.
All right, and yesterday's quarterly loss shows Boeing needs a lot of work. Workers think they can still press the issue.
Well, they certainly do. The way the workers' union put it is that 10 years of sacrifices will take time to reverse. And it was exactly 10 years ago, not a coincidence, that the union rank and file voted to approve a labor deal that got rid of their pensions. They felt forced to accept the deal at the time because Boeing had threatened to move production of a new jumbo jet to a non-union state. That jet, by the way, is the 777X, which has yet to see a single delivery. And that's just one of its many challenges right now.
All right, Nova, thank you. S&P futures are up 0.5%. Dow futures are down slightly. NASDAQ futures up 0.8%. As we've been reporting, the Federal Trade Commission has finalized a rule to make unsubscribing to a recurring charge as easy as subscribing, the one-click rule. Now, a trade group of telecom and media companies is suing to stop making canceling so easy. The group represents Charter, Comcast, Cox, as well as Disney Entertainment, Warner Brothers, Discovery, and others, and claims the new rule is overbroad.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Progressive Insurance. Progressive is currently looking for individuals in a variety of career fields who are interested in building a career and joining an inclusive and unique culture. More information, including application, at progressive.com/careers. And by Baird. Baird strives to attract and retain top financial talent, providing stability and continuity for clients. More at bairdifference.com. And by Rubrik. When cyber attacks put businesses at risk, Rubrik provides the power to bounce back fast. More at Rubrik.com.
Now to an explanation from one of the winners of this year's Nobel Economics Prize for what is wrong in this country. James Robinson is the Pearson Professor of Global Conflict Studies at the University of Chicago's Harris School of Public Policy, who learned last week he is sharing a Nobel with Daron Acemoglu and Simon Johnson, both of MIT. Professor Robinson, congratulations and welcome.
Thank you very much indeed.
When I was a little kid in the 60s, surveys showed that trust in government in the United States was running at 77%. People trusted the government. It's now 22% trust in government. Given your work, how big a problem is this for our prosperity?
Oh, I think it's a huge problem. It's a huge problem because it's undermining people's belief, that the institutions in this country will deliver a future for them. That's why there's so much discontent, and that's why there's so much support for radical change.
I guess it's disappointing. We have an institution. The U.S. Constitution provides for a lot of it. We have this institution called democracy, but clearly it's not good enough to just have it. It has to be, I guess, nurtured and fertilized.
Yes, it has to be nurtured and fertilized. And, I think political elites have to be able to represent society. The current situation, it's a juxtaposition of different things, of political elites getting really out of touch with the problems of ordinary people, with the adoption of an economic model in the 1980s under Ronald Reagan that's generated enormous inequality and basically has done nothing for the majority of people in this country.
That's a striking thing for a Nobel laureate to say. In other words, well, we know trickle-down didn't work, but also if you take a look at the aggregate population, you're saying a lot of people are not prospering under the system that has become normalized.
No, but that's a fact. I mean, that's just a well-established fact that every economist agree on. There's disagreement on what caused it, but it's obviously connected to automation, to globalization, and also, the adoption of this kind of free market ideology in some sense, which justifies CEOs paying themselves massive salaries, which justified undermining organized labor, and, which has shifted the labor market dramatically away from ordinary working people.
I've seen in the past you're reluctant, and I don't blame you, to write prescriptions to solve our problems. Any hunches about what might pull us out of a vicious circle like this?
I think there's real problems in this country, as we started talking about. I think the Democratic Party got completely detached from the problems of ordinary working Americans. I find it absolutely breathtaking that President Biden, prioritizes forgiving student loans, for example. I mean, what kind of policy is that? It's just sort of egregious redistribution to your electoral block. I think they still haven't got what it takes to reconnect with those people. So, if we want to stabilize things, I still think, the Democratic Party kind of believes in the institutions in this country in a way that the Republican Party doesn't really seem to anymore. But they need to take the wind out of the sails, and that means kind of finding a way to reconnect with ordinary working class people and give them a future that's disappeared in the last 50 years.
James Robinson is the Pearson Professor of Global Conflict Studies at the University of Chicago's Harris School of Public Policy. He's co-author of the book from 2012 entitled Why Nations Fail: The Origins of Power, Prosperity, and Poverty. Professor, thank you. And again, congratulations on the Nobel.
Thank you. My pleasure.
We also spoke with fellow Nobel laureate Simon Johnson. That's now streamable from the Marketplace homepage. I'm David Brancaccio. You're listening to the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.